So, because of Sfirat Omer, right? So, what is Sfirat Omer? First of all, we're going to be counting these certain days, right? So, just doing the counting is good. It's a mitzvah, but we should be doing something more, right? I think there's a book, or there's a few books out there, but there's one book I know that they give you something to work on every day of the Sfirat Omer. One thing to work on every day, based on the Kabbalah or what it is. But again, tonight's shiur is not upstairs. Tonight's shiur is all down here. We'll start with a introduction to what we're going to do. This is a series, I guess we'll do, and we'll do it until hopefully we'll finish it. We'll finish the whole sefer by Shavuot. This way we'll be ready. We'll know how to acquire the Torah. So we know that the Torah is it's free, right? You don't need to pay for it. It's right. Hashem brought it down. Hashem gave it to everybody. It's accessible, but based on a person's midot, not his knowledge, not his brain, but based on his midot, the character traits, right? That will help him to acquire the Torah, make it part of who he is. Because in the end of the day, Hashem doesn't need the mitzvot. In fact, when a person goes upstairs, there's no more mitzvot. It doesn't matter. You did 17,000 billion mitzvot, chazak u'baruch. That doesn't matter. That's not what Hashem's counting on. We always think that there's a scale, and it's like a game. How many points did you score? Let's be honest. That's quote unquote stupidity. We're past that level. We're not 2 years old. What is the purpose of the mitzvot? So Ramchal tells us the purpose of the mitzvot is what's called, they are middlemen. They are the shadchanim. What's the shidduch? Shidduch is a match, right? So you have a guy, you have a girl, and you need someone to put them together. Who's that person? The shadchan, right? So in our example, actually, it's Am Yisrael is the girl, Hashem is the guy, and the mitzvot are the shadchanim. So every mitzvah is a different way to connect the two people, the two entities, God and Am Yisrael together. That's it. That's what a mitzvah is for. After that, the mitzvah goes home. The mitzvah doesn't stick around. What ends up happening is that by doing the quote-unquote the mitzvah, the action, the physical part, we're supposed to grow in us a feeling. And the feeling is supposed to grow in us a thought. And the thought is supposed to grow in us a voice, a ability to sing to Hashem. Right? We discussed many of these parts, different parts. But what I talk about tonight is the idea of self-assessment, right? Because how do you know where you're holding or where you're trying to go to if you don't know where you're standing today, right? It's like, if you punch in your GPS, GPS not a good example, but like let's say Google Maps. So you have to put your starting location and your end location. Let's say you only know your end location. You don't know where you're starting today. You don't know where you're at. So it doesn't help you. You need to know a starting location and an end location. If your GPS doesn't know where you're at now, it can tell you where the other location is. That's no problem. But if you don't know where you're at, there's no way you're going to get from point A to point B. So the first thing a person has to do, and the reason we're picking this part of the topic is because if you look at all of Sefer Musar, of the books that speak about a person's character traits and things like that, it all has to do with self-assessment. Because if you do this and you do it on a consistent basis, you'll know exactly where you are. And if you know where you are, you know where you're going to. Right? So that's the game plan. So Rav Pinkus brings down on the idea of Sfirat Omer. He says the following. He says, what we're doing on Sfirat Omer, we're actually building up a man. We're building up a person. Right? Because we said that in the end of the day, the person is supposed to get the Torah. Right? But if he's a baby, he's not going to do too much with it. So we need to give him arms. We need to give him legs. We need to give him a head. We need to give him a mind, a brain, a heart. We're building a person. Imagine, like you were building a robot. So you need to have these certain parts so the robot can function. So you're going to build the man based on what the goal is. What's the goal? To get the Torah. So if the goal is to get the Torah, so the components of the man have to be precise in order to receive the Torah. So, for example, he gets two hands. Well, those are hands that are going to do certain types of mitzvot based on the hands, because that's what's inside the Torah. He's got 2 feet. Well, those feet are going to be exactly up to the coordinations, whatever, of the Torah, because that's the goal. So we're building up this man. Part of what we're building up in the man, actually, the biggest part, the physical part is easy. Doing a mitzvah is not so difficult most of the time. Most of the time. Just doing it. It's probably harder to find out what you're supposed to do more than actually doing it. If I asked you, well, we know we have 630 mitzvot. I'm saying for myself. Say, list them. I can list 10, 20, I don't know, 15, 630. I'm going to go list 630. I don't know. Open the Rambam, open the Sefer Chinuch, Minhat Chinuch, open Shulchan Aruch. Okay, so you'll find, open the Ramban, you'll find different calculations of how do you get the 630 mitzvot. Doing them is not so bad. Once I know what I'm supposed to do, okay, I can go put on my tefillin, I can go put on my talit, I can go say Asher Yatzar, I can say my brachot, I can say my things, I can do my things. That's not so bad. The harder part is, first of all, finding out what you're supposed to do. And the hardest part is getting an emotional connection out of what you're doing. That part is difficult, right? Because ask anybody who puts on tefillin, they can tell you they put on tefillin. Ask anybody, why do you put on tefillin? Hashem said so. Okay, good. That's a good reason. But is that the real reason? Do you feel that? Again, that is a good reason, and you should know, I'm not mocking that reason. That reason is, the top reason is because God said so. But if you ask the person to live by just God said so, within a few weeks he's going to become somewhere else. Man needs a little taste. Because those tastes are what give him the emotional connection. The Sefer Chinuch brings this down when he explains certain mitzvot. He says there are what's called ta'amei ha-mitzvot. Ta'amei mitzvot means literally the reasons, but it's not reasons. The only reason of a mitzvah is because God said so. Ta'am comes from the idea of a taste. It gives you a taste. So if you're putting on tefillin, he says, well, let's put some sauce on it. Let's make it a little bit more smelly, nice smell. Let's give it a flavor to it. Okay, so those are the ideas that we're getting to. Okay, so we have, again, if we follow the order, we need to know what we need to do. We need to do it, and then we need to get an emotional connection out of what we're doing. That's the game plan. Says the Rav Pinkus. He brings down. He says on the days of Sfirat Omer, we're fixing a lot of the nooks and crannies that we let go during the year. He gives a good, unbelievable example. He says, imagine a guy goes to Seder. Let's say first Seder, goes to morning, let's say goes to night, whatever time he's going to learn. He goes to learn. He says, while he's learning, he's thirsty. So he's not allowed to be thirsty, he's thirsty. What's the problem? He's thirsty. So he's thirsty, he runs out, he gets the cup. That's what happened. That's how he makes the bracha. He says, what has happened? Wasn't this guy just sitting, connecting to God? Was he just learning Torah? Again, we didn't say don't be thirsty. But when you're taking the cup, appreciate what God gave you a piece of drink to drink. You're not giving God a favor by making a bracha. He doesn't need your bracha. If it's up to him, he says, get out of here. If you're going to make that kind of bracha, get out of here. What it says in the Navi, don't pay lip service to God. God doesn't need lip service. You're holding the cup before making a drink. Think about what you're drinking the cup for. You're going back to learning, right? You're going back to learn. So your mouth is a little bit dry. How can you learn if your mouth is a little bit dry? You need to wash it up a little bit. It's good. Okay, so God gave you a cup of water. Appreciate the cup of water that God gave you. But just saying, what did he say? Who he's talking to? Would he talk to his wife this way? Honey, let me explain to you. Oh, now you have time to space the words. Yet when it comes to a bracha, or again, I'm not mocking. I'm just saying that a person has to be particular. Because sometimes we don't even notice that we're doing these things. Because they became because we see everyone doing it. So everyone do it. Or the guy's walking out. What do you think? You're talking to God, you're talking to your friend. Right? Okay. That be it as it may. Again, every mitzvah has it. I'll give you Nitiat Yadayim. It's a very big mitzvah. According to the halachot of Sfaradim, right, you're supposed to raise your hands while they're wet, say the beracha. After you said the beracha nicely, okay, then go wipe the hands. Okay? That's the way, that's the procedure according to the Sfaradim. Other people sometimes do it. The towel. What is that? Are we doing it for your health, or what are you doing it for? So either learn the procedure. Maybe people don't know the procedure. That's another problem. So we need to learn the procedure. Once we know the procedure, if we specifically choose not to do the procedure, that's on us. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, so what he says now, he brings down, he says, on the days of Sfirat HaOmer, we're fixing, he says, every time that we're doing these kind of things, we're doing the mitzvah, but we're doing with a little bit of a hole in it. And God forbid, imagine a person has a hole in a hand. Okay, that's you can get around that. But imagine he has a hole in the heart, or in a lung, in a vital organ. That's a problem. So he says, the days of Sfirat HaOmer, we're supposed to try to fill in those holes. That's what it is. Now again, how are we going to do it? So that's why we're constructing the shiur this way. We're going to have to start with a pasuk. The first pasuk is Vayikra Hashem Elokim El Ha'adam. Adam sins. He eats from the tree. Adam ate from the tree. Afterwards, this is what the pasuk comes to say. God calls him. What does he tell him? Vayomer lo ayeka. He says, where are you? It's the famous question. God doesn't know where Adam is. He knows where Adam is. What's he telling him? Where are you holding? I understand you ate from the tree. Do you realize that it's a sin? A. Do you realize the gravity of what you just did? Do you realize what you just did? Like, it's not like, okay, so I just ate and it's okay, I'm going to walk away. Do you realize, A, your position in the world? Why are you in the world, Adam? And we're going to talk about this. We're going to get back to this question. Because all of these things we have to ask ourselves, every time we're doing something, we have to ask ourselves, who are we? What are we? Why are we here in the world? And if we know that, then you will automatically know the responsibility that you have as a Jew. It's not an easy game, it's not an easy task. But you've been given a responsibility. Now that you have the responsibility, you have to go out and carry the duty. There's benefits in it, of course, there's benefits. The ultimate benefit is that you are given a relationship with the Baruch Hu. Goyim don't have a relationship with the Baruch Hu. He's there, but they don't feel it. There's no emotional connection. I told you, I feel blessed now, and I keep saying, this is already now a year, I keep saying the same story. But one time in school, it was Erev Pesach, and we're getting some Pirushim ready. And so one of the students said to us, oh, by the way, so it's your holiday, yeah, Pesach? I said, yeah, Pesach, yeah. He said, oh, that's like the holiday of freedom. We got into the whole discussion. Anyway, we get into a discussion about God. Okay, so that's good. It's always good when we get into the Goyim about discussion about God. But, okay, so be it as it may, Baruch Hu is Misaviv, he guides the mouth the way it needs to talk. And so we're talking here and there. And so he tells me, I always understood God. Afterwards, I explained to him how God took us out of Egypt, and it was a love connection, and we realized that we had no one to lean on, and it was a beautiful thing. And so he says, I never realized that God is loving. I always thought that God is a king, and if you don't do what He says, you get punished. That's it. I said, punished? I said, let me ask you a question. God, who created this entire universe, do you think He has any business punishing you? What does it give Him to punish you? Does He need you in His world?